Opposed. Thank you.
Order, Honorable Wandai. There is nothing to reject. You just make your comments. You are not going to vote anything. I now invite Honorable Osoro.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this is a house of debate and procedures. And I dare say, Honorable Speaker, that this is a granary of wisdom, where every profession is actually represented here. We have experienced lawyers of the advocates of the High Court. We have doctors. We have accountants. We have bishops. We also have the wannabe men of cloth. Could be the, I think Honorable Junet qualifies to be a sheikh. So this is a house where people are drawn from different professions and very experienced in different fields. Honorable Speaker, this is also a house, once one debates, must agree that it is a house where the majority will have their way and minority will have their say. When this motion was brought before this House, Honorable Speaker, the majority had their way, as it were then. But the procedures took center stage thereafter. After the majority had their way, the procedures were followed. The minority proposed their names, the majority proposed their names. An ad hoc committee was formed, Honorable Speaker, and they had their own elections, where they elected a chair to chair the ad hoc committee. And the chair of the ad hoc committee, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Naomi Wako, is a reverend, is a person of great integrity, a person that has served this country in her capacity as a reverend, a person that has served this country as a canon, a person that has served this country as a senator, and a person now is serving this country, Honorable Speaker, as the deputy majority whip, Honorable Speaker. And all the proceedings, Honorable Speaker, were in full glare of the camera. We all watched what was happening. It was basically drama. Everything that we were watching, Honorable Speaker, in the proceedings were actually drama. What we were hearing, Honorable Speaker, is similar to what was actually being shown, or rather presented before, or brought before the matrimonial court the other day. And Honorable Speaker, there is no way a house of competence could have admitted the evidence that was brought. There was nothing watertight as it was being presented, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Wamboka, as much as he tried, of course, in his role as a member of parliament under Article 95 to oversight, Honorable Speaker, he did not manage to raise a strong case, to bring a watertight evidence, to grow his, profile by pushing through a watertight case, Honorable Speaker, to have the Honorable Linturi impeached. So, Honorable Speaker, I support the report by this committee because I believe in them, and as the house of debate, a house that believes in strength, a house that believes in procedures, Honorable Speaker, we proceed. It is done. We are now done with the whole thing, and now we proceed with the other, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much.
Honorable Robert Mbui. 3 minutes, so
thank you, Mr.
condense
Speaker.
your thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Kenyan farmers were duped into purchasing fake fertilizer through NCPB under the full glare and the watch of the CS for Agriculture. Mr. Speaker, a motion was brought to this House to dismiss that CS, and members of the House voted overwhelmingly to get rid of the CS. Then, Mr. Speaker, a committee of the House was put together to go and confirm the report and the vote of the members of Parliament. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, the members that were put in the committee, 7 of them went and turned the verdict of 149 members of Parliament. And Mr. Speaker, for the record, only 4 members gave a dissenting opinion. And Mr. Speaker, for the record, the Honorable TJ Kajwang, the Honorable Yusuf Farah, the Honorable Catherine Omanyo, and the Honorable Robert Mbui stood with the Kenyan farmers and said enough is enough and the CS must go. Mr. Speaker, the reality is this, that when we went to that committee, Mr. Speaker, the committee, instead of carrying out investigation as was told by this House, the committee went and turned itself into a Supreme Court of Parliament of Kenya, presided over, Mr. Speaker, by the Lady Justice Naomi Wako. And Mr. Speaker, the rest of us became judges. Mr. Speaker, the question we're asking is this: is the committee of the House supposed to operate like a court, or are we supposed to continue operating like a committee of the House?
Order, Honorable Mbui. Honorable Mbui, I did guide you, and you are a member of the committee. I told you are quasi-judicial. Rules of evidence apply, limitations on hearsay apply, and everything that pertains to proceedings in a judicial court applies. You are quasi-judicial.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are quasi-judicial, but we became a court of law. Mr. Speaker, there was one major issue that we noted, that there were key witnesses that Mr. Speaker was supposed to have been called. The Constitution anticipates that we call witnesses. The standing orders of this House and even the rules of the committee were allowing us to call members to come and give witness evidence. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, two key witnesses, the PS for Agriculture and the COO of one of the companies that is supposedly mentioned in this fake fertilizer scandal, were actually not called.
Honorable Mbui, as a member of the committee, you are truly being wiser after the event. Honorable John Paul. John Paul, 3 minutes. You better compose your thoughts quickly. Give John Paul the mic. There you
Thank
are.
you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support the report from the committee and to commend, Mr. Speaker, their good work which they did within 10 days, Mr. Speaker. It is commendable that within 10 days, Mr. Speaker, the committee was able to gather evidence and to interrogate both the parties, Mr. Speaker. And today, Mr. Speaker, it has come to limelight of Kenyans, Mr. Speaker, that the one CS Medega Linturi is clean, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I urge members, when the motions such as this, Mr. Speaker, is brought before this House, Mr. Speaker, it's good for any member who is bringing such motion, Mr. Speaker, of impeachment to do due diligence, Mr. Speaker, and gather enough evidence, Mr. Speaker, which can get maybe the minister with the mistake which, Mr. Speaker, they already seen the years. So, Mr. Speaker, this committee consisted of the competent members, Mr. Speaker, who are capable of interrogating the CS, Mr. Speaker, and they were able to bring forth, Mr. Speaker, to this honorable House, Mr. Speaker, that the CS is clean. Mr. Speaker, it should also be noted that when impeachment motion is brought in this House, it should not be brought, Mr. Speaker, with perception that maybe because maybe a person has a bad name or maybe the look of that person, Mr. Speaker, that person maybe qualifies to be impeached. So my advice to the CS Agriculture, Mr. Speaker, is that he should stand firm, do work to the Kenyans, Mr. Speaker, so that the Kenyans can have enough food, Mr. Speaker. The work he is doing currently is doing good. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I beg to support this report. Thank you.
Irene Mayaka, 3 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also stand here to express my complete disappointment that 7 honorable members averted the will of so many other members of this House. And Honorable Speaker, I am actually really disappointed on behalf of the farmers of not only Nyamira, but the whole of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, Article 153 of our Constitution is very clear that the CS is accountable individually and collectively to the President of this country. And in so doing, Honorable Speaker, it also says that the Honorable CS is stopped from not taking accountability when anything goes wrong in his ministry. Honorable Speaker, the CS cannot run away from the fact that the ultimate responsibility actually stands with him. Honorable Speaker, I watched the proceedings of the committee, and one of the things that really caught my eye is when the CS proudly demonstrated to the committee of the positive things that he has done for that particular ministry. But the same CS refuses to take responsibility when one thing goes wrong in his ministry. Honorable Speaker, if you look at Article 201 of our Constitution, it clearly says that public money shall be spent prudently and responsibly. It does not make sense, therefore, Honorable Speaker, why money that was allocated to one particular part of the department was reallocated to NCPD and therefore used in a manner that was not prudent. I do not understand, therefore, Honorable Speaker, how the Select Committee, the 7 of them, decided that this CS was not culpable of the crimes that he committed. Honorable Speaker, I would also like to state this, that the Article 43 of our Constitution is very clear. It says that every person has a right to free access of food, but not only food, but that food that is actually of good quality. Honorable Speaker, the CS in his admission said that out of the 3 million bags, that only 3,000 bags were actually fake fertilizer, and that they withdrew this from the people. But Honorable Speaker, that is not taking enough responsibility for a fault like that. Because Honorable Speaker, what if this particular...
Your time is up, Honorable Mayaka. Dr. Mutunga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to speak on this motion.
You have 3 minutes.
Honorable Speaker, as the chair of the Committee on Agriculture and Livestock Development, I am sure the House knows that you have been making an inquiry on this issue. Honorable Speaker, I understand the feelings of the members. This is the first motion of impeachment that we've had. I was there in the last time, there was none. In this time, there is one. But Honorable Speaker, the law and the Constitution is very clear. And I wish to thank you for invoking, going beyond the provisions of Article 152(9)(a), giving us an opportunity to comment on this motion, even if the business has already been done. Honorable Speaker, as a committee, we have not completed our work. And I want to put it correctly, Honorable Speaker, that the mover of the motion approached me, and I told him the business is not yet done. It would have been prudent to wait until we finish with the report, bring that report to the table of the House, and then the mover would have looked at this report and made a decision whether there is anything that would probably stand the impeachment trial. So, Honorable Speaker, in my very considered opinion, this motion was taken in haste. We should have taken more time so that we consider the report when it is brought before the House. Honorable Speaker, our committee, or my committee, has been looking at the entire scope of the subsidy program, and we have unearthed many issues. But this was done in full glare of the media, and that, I believe, is the reason why the members of this House believe there was something wrong with this particular issue, that Honorable Linturi had committed a crime. Honorable Speaker, I think it would have been good to wait for the report. Finally, Honorable Speaker, as we move forward as a House, we cannot make decisions based on things that we cannot substantiate, things that we cannot fully address and give evidence. I do stand, Honorable Speaker, to support the 7-member and state the fact that we have always made decisions in this House. We have made decisions at the committee level, we have made decisions at the board level, and there is always voting. The number that is more than the other takes the day.
Your
so
time
it is
up.
not really the numbers. It is basically the decision of the committee. And you have been generous enough to give us an opportunity to comment. Honorable Speaker, the report will be laid on the table of this House, and the House will look at the report and see what has gone on. Because we are not looking at individuals, we are looking at the entire